Let's talk briefly about what we can sort of expect to see. If you've done CrossFit for more than a few months, you'll be familiar with the general idea of the CrossFit workout, which is sort of light to moderate weights, moderately demanding body weight skills, strung together in circuit style for somewhere in the 8 to 12 minute range, usually in reps of, what do you guys normally see, 9, 12, 15, maybe 20, that's sort of the normal thing. And surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, that's what we've seen in the last few opens. So some brief stats here. Over the last 3 years, we've experienced 16 workouts. 7 of them were couplets, so 2 movements. 7 of them were triplets, 3 movements. 4 of them were 7-minute efforts. So we've seen a 7-minute workout come up 4 times. 10 of the 16 workouts were in the 7 to 12 minute range. So that's sort of the meat of the experience, is that 7 to 12 minute range. That's where you need to be switched on and powerful and effective. A couple of them are going to be shorter. A couple of them are going to be longer, but generally you can expect that range of time. Only 4 of the workouts did not involve cycling barbell reps. By that I mean you have a load on a barbell and it's got to go up and down through space multiple times. For men, in the range of 115 to 165 pounds. For the women, in the range of 75 to 110. So depending on your strengths and weaknesses and whatnot, for some people those are near their max weights. For some people they might be light to moderate, other people they might be moderate to heavy. Each year, fun fact, each year there has been an ascending ladder, whether that's using weights to ascend or using rep schemes to ascend. And in terms of the rep schemes, there were 13 times where exercises were presented in sets of 15. So that's nothing scary, that's nothing new. That's what you guys are used to. And that's what the Open is all about. It's not about really throwing a monkey wrench in things. It's not about having people do, handstand push-ups on the rings or anything like that. It's about basic, fairly simple movements that most people can hopefully do a few reps of, and the people who are in better shape will do many, many reps of. Now we can talk a little bit about the sort of the weird things that might pop up. Each year they find some way to sort of spice things up a little bit, whether that's doing something like adding a new movement, or maybe putting in a scary sort of workout scheme like that 4-minute, 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 sort of unlocking the next level that we had last year. In terms of movements that might come up, I think handstand push-ups are probably due. People talk about bar muscle-ups because that's now been involved in the games and stuff, so we'd like to see that filter down. Most places have a bar. In my opinion, maybe a chance of throwing in some sort of lunge. It's a fairly simple movement that can be done in one spot in a variety of positions, either front rack or overhead or back rack or holding something at your sides, whatever. But generally things you've done in the gym. There's not going to be anything freaky. No rowing, I'm assuming, because you can tamper with a rowing machine pretty easily. No running, because you can only run so much. They might put in some sort of shuttle run, but probably not. So some of these movements are what I like to call deal breakers, where essentially if you can't do them, you're kind of screwed, or you're going to be stuck behind a big bubble of people. One of them, a huge one, is double unders. So double unders are killer because really you don't have to be in very good shape to do double unders. Your work capacity doesn't have to be very high to do double unders. So it's kind of a strange movement, but it comes up all the time. In various workouts, there can be huge pitfalls where someone can be cruising along, getting an awesome score, and all of a sudden double unders come up and, oh, I trip, oh, I trip, oh, I trip, oh, I trip. And now 30 seconds have gone by, and you've gotten maybe 5 or 10 reps, whereas someone else has got 60 or 70 reps. So that can be a huge thing, especially in the open where all points are equal. So one double under, in terms of points, is worth the same, will put you forward as much as one muscle up or one heavy snatch. And when you think of it like that, it's like, oh man, I got to be able to do my double unders. So we really don't want to find ourselves in a situation where there can be such a huge point spread that we are having trouble getting over. There are very few movements that we're going to want to be doing, outside of our open training. Double unders is one of them. If you can't do double unders, and by can't, I'll put a bit of a benchmark out there. In my opinion, to be successful in the open, you should be able to do 100 double unders in 60 seconds. That gives you room for maybe 1 or maybe 2 trips if you're doing them fairly quickly. But generally, double unders, you can do 2 reps per second. So if you say 100 double unders, that's 50 seconds. I have 10 seconds to trip once or twice. If you're tripping much more than that, people are getting more points than you that might not be as fit as you. If we've got a week to sharpen up some skills and you can't do double unders, we want to do some double unders. We'll talk a bit more about how to put that in later. So that's one deal breaker skill. Another deal breaker skill is the muscle up. And it's kind of the flip side here, where double unders, you can separate yourself by 100 points in the span of a minute. Muscle ups, sometimes you can spend a few minutes just trying to get 1 point. And that 1 point can really put people over a bubble. We'll see as the people submit their scores and points accumulate, there will be huge bubbles of people with a muscle up workout comes up where some people will set a PR that day and they'll get 1 muscle up and then boom, they're ahead 20, 30, 40 spots, rankings from 1 simple rep. Alternatively, there will be those people that, okay, they've got 1 or 2 muscle ups, but then they're able to string a couple together and all of a sudden they've seen a huge improvement in their points. Essentially, if you do want to maximize your points in the open, all your energy, if you're doing any extra training, should be put towards these deal breaker skills that for you are going to determine 50 rankings worth of your name on the scoreboard. Another sort of thing that people often struggle with, females especially, is the chest to bar pull-up. Not to pick on the ladies, but with a lot of females, you see them knock out easily sets of 15 to 20 kipping pull-ups, and then they can't do 1 chest to bar. And the reason is because they haven't learned and activated they haven't learned how to activate the sort of scapular control and shoulder blade strength that we need to move that extra inch. So what you'll see a lot of the time is a female will get a big, huge kip, plenty of power, throw themselves up in the air, and then bing, chin to the bar. And then swing, and bing, chin to the bar. And that's great, you're accomplishing the movement, but the essence of the movement is it's finishing with a little sort of T-Rex arm curl. And the reason why, when they try for chest to bar, we just can't get the chest to the bar. Because what we're lacking is the ability to take the elbow and the shoulder back behind the body. And that extra few inches is like, it feels like a mile sometimes. Spending a little bit of time learning and practicing the basic anatomical, movement of scapular retraction, in my opinion, best trained with the exercise, the ring row, where we hang under the rings and we work on not pulling the rings to the face, but we work on pulling the elbows back behind the body. That can, in the span of a few training sessions, get someone to control their shoulder blades properly, and that can give them a chest to bar pull-up without just flailing away on the pull-up bar over and over again until they get high enough. So that's going to be another deal breaker skill. But other than that, hopefully people are mostly familiar with most of the things that'll come up.